What's up, guys? Welcome on in to today's episode of Alarm Fantasy Football. I'm your host, Andrew Cooper here, and guess what? We're going solo dolo today. We're jumping in, just me, you guys, sorting through this week because it's the most important week of the year. It truly is. I mean, this is the week where you separate yourself, you get to the next level. Obviously, anything can happen, and weeks become more and more important as we go. But this is when we're going to have the most people in, the most people hanging out. We want to take it very seriously. So I know usually I have a guest on, we mess around, we make an FFPC lineup. We're still going to go through all the matchups. We're still going to make an FFPC lineup, but I want to make sure that everybody is squared away as best as we can be going into this weekend. There's guys like Josh Jacobs that are nicked up. We don't know who's going to be quarterback for some of these teams yet, but we're doing the best we can. We're doing the best we can. And for anybody out there that is not in fantasy playoffs, well, we're still going to go through and do the whole grid here. I got do the FFPC lineup, set the whole thing up, get you guys squared away. So for anybody that has never joined for this stream before, here's how this whole sheet works. Basically, we got all the matchups in here. We got the over under. That's the total points that are set to be scored here, right? That's this column here, column A. Then we have the spread, right? Everyone knows what team is favored by how many. And with that, we can figure out the implied point total, right? 51 point over under. Ravens favored by 3. The Vegas is kind of predicting the score to be 27-24. That's how that works. So we go through, we use this sheet to fill in who the top plays are for each game, and then we're going to make an FFPC lineup. Over on FFPC, there's no salary, there's no draft. There's no constraints except for one thing. You can't use 2 players from the same team. So if we go in and we decide we want to use Joe Burrow, we cannot stack him with Jamar Chase. You can only use one or the other. That's the deal. So that's what we're going to do today. We're going to go through, and on this sheet, I'm just going to put in anyone we consider. And along the way, that can let you guys know who we truly trust this week, because that's what championship week is all about. I see you guys loading in the chat. Love to have you guys all hanging out. We're definitely going to get to a ton of questions, but just keep that in mind when setting your lineups, right? We want to make sure we get as many players in there that we trust, guys that have a high floor and a high ceiling if possible. And after that, if we don't trust them, we're just going for ceiling. We're going to lean into upside. So, how's that sound today, folks? Sound good? Let's jump in. Let's get to it. I just want to say there were a couple people that got in here before I even got in here today. You guys were flying around. I see you guys here, Fatty, and everybody saying what up. Thanks for popping in. Really appreciate you guys. But yeah, a couple people beat me in here, so I'm just going to answer those questions first. The first guy in was our guy Mojo. He said Fannin, Waller, or Schultz, and that's in a standard league. I know Fannin hasn't been as good in standard because of his low A dot, but I'm still going Fannin. He's leading the team in routes run, targets, receptions, yards, first downs, touchdowns, passer rating when targeted, you name it. Broken tackles. Fannin's been the guy. I have him as high as tight end 5 this week, right? So Fannin is locked in for me. Waller only ran 13 routes last week, while Dulcich ran 12. So can't really trust him yet. I want to keep him on the bench in case he shows us something this week, and then we can start him next week against the Bengals if he does something. And then Schultz, I mean, he's kind of a safe but boring play. If you didn't have Fannin, he probably would be the play. He did let us down last week. And to me, he's behind Nico Collins and probably also Jaden Higgins for targets at this stage. So not super trustworthy for us. So there you go. Mojo beat us in. Everybody else, I got you locked in. Dire Wolf, what's up, man? Happy Friday. That was a great call on Pitts. Yeah, I mean, that's one of those things where, it fell into that camp of, look, if you have George Kittle or any of these super safe high upside guys, great, get him in there. After that, we're leaning into upside. Pitts, last time he played the Bucks, he got 7 catches. 2 weeks before that, 6 catches, 7 catches. Did we think he was going to have 3 touchdowns? No, but he went out, had a great day. I got Pitts in some best balls, 5 best balls that advanced. Hoping that we can hang on with those ones. If you didn't have any Pitts in your best balls, that's tough. It's kind of crazy to have weeks like this that just kind of set the stage for everything. So, yes, and thankful she didn't go up against Pitts. I started Pitts in a very big league. The Kings Classic, for those that don't know, is a league that we do at the Expo, and it's a bunch of experts. It's guys like, me, Jim Coventry, Bob Harris, Rich Rebar, I mean, you name it. Pat Doherty, tons of guys in there. This week in the playoffs, I'm going up against JJ Zacharyson, and I started Pitts against him. So pretty fired up there. Uh, Question here in the chat. I'll definitely hit some questions first before we get in and start looking at these games, at least a few of them. What are we doing with Jacobs if he's a true game time decision, but winds up active? Um, would you be concerned about usage, snap count? The bad matchup doesn't help either. Yeah, for me, if Jacobs goes, I'm going to start him. A lot of times with these guys, like they don't just go in and play decoy. They can either play or they can't. And you've seen it with Aaron Jones. Like he goes out, he's playing with an AC joint injury, but he's the starting running back and he's getting the meaningful touches. So for me, if Jacobs goes, I'm starting him. If Jacobs doesn't play, I'm ranking Emmanuel Wilson as high as like RB 15. The problem you run into, Ace, which is, it's nothing we can do about it. That's a 4 o'clock game. So if you do have some of the other safer players that are kind of right on the line, going at 1 o'clock, you might just have to play them. Like I have a situation where I have Quinshon Judkins and Josh Jacobs, and Judkins is in my lineup right now. And unless somebody comes and tells me, hey, Jacobs is 100% good to go by 1 o'clock, I might just start Judkins because I don't have pivots. So make sure you're ready to pivot. See you in the woods. What's up, dude? Jim, happy Friday. What does Jamar Chase production look like since T. Higgins is out? I mean, he's going to get peppered. He's going to get peppered. There's no doubt about it. I don't think other teams really change the way they play Jamar Chase with or without T. Higgins out. They were already going to be all over him. So, and Bengals, they're virtually eliminated, but they're going to play must-win ball here. So why don't we jump in and look at that game first while we're on it? Bengals, Ravens here, 51-point over-under, 3-point spread. I'll tell you what, making an FFPC lineup where it's just going to be strictly chalk for me, Jamar Chase is going to be on the table. We're potentially starting Jamar Chase. I'm not going to go cute with Andre Yosivas. Again, not a player we can trust. We've seen plenty of times where these guys have played and he hasn't done much for us. So I'm not really looking to use Yosivas unless I have my back against the wall. Chase Brown is a guy we'd also consider here because he's been great. Here, let me put these guys right on the right team here. But yeah, we're going to consider those guys. Mike Gesicki, I have a lot of people coming to me saying, "Oh, dude, no T. Higgins. We got to get Gesicki in there." Not quite. The problem that we run into with Gesicki is that they really only lean heavily into him when it's a negative game script, right? Like you do need to have these games where they're playing from behind and then they lean on Gesicki. The last time that T. Higgins was out, and this was week 15, we actually saw Gesicki be third among the tight end group in snaps. Drew Sample played more than him, and Noah Fant played more than him. So it's not exactly wheels up for Gesicki in these situations, unfortunately. He does move up our rankings, though, and he is a potential spot start if you need him, but we're not going crazy on that. Burrow is also in the conversation here as a top 5 QB. Lamar, I'll put in the sheet, but we're probably not going to use him. I still have him ranked like QB 8, so you're probably going to use him. Zay Flowers, again, against the Bengals, that's on the table, and Derrick Henry, too. You would think that I would use Mark Andrews here. I'm using him in real leagues, but in tight end premium, you only get, which is what FFPC is, you only get the boost from receptions, and he's not exactly a high volume guy. So I might not actually end up having Andrews in this lineup, but he is a guy that you can trust in your lineups this week with this matchup. The Bengals are the worst team I've ever seen against the tight end. That's not an exaggeration. Like mathematically speaking, they're letting up like 24 PPR points per game to the position. That's the worst I've ever seen. So you can definitely use Andrews. Maybe I will use him in this. Who knows? We'll see what the other options look like. Let's jump back in the chat here. What's up, Andrew? Better tight end start Ferguson, Waller, or Likely? I'll tell you what. With Jake Ferguson, all of a sudden you gotta worry about his health here. Last I checked, this was yesterday, non-participant in Thursday's practice with a calf issue. So quietly, I mean, people didn't expect it, but Mason Taylor got ruled out. Ferguson himself could get ruled out here. I mean, we don't know for sure. So I'd keep an eye on that. If Ferguson is a full go, then I'm starting him. If he's not, then I'll start Likely because Waller and Likely are both kind of part-time guys. Again, Waller ran 13 routes. Dulcich ran 12, and they both got 3 targets. I'll just lean into the matchup with Likely. Waller's a guy I want to have on my bench, but I don't really trust. And yeah, happy first round of the playoffs, everybody. We're rocking solo dolo today because I just want to make sure, when we have a guest on, I love having my friends on doing the guests. Uh, you know, we get into a little bit of nonsense at times. The takes, we don't always align on takes. It's not always fantasy alarm takes. A lot of times these guys come from outside, and it's good to have their opinion. But this week, I've done all my research. I got all the rankings up. I just want to make sure that Fantasy Alarm family members have access to us and we can get that information everybody needs. So I love when everybody in the chat hangs out and says what up to each other. That's warms my heart. It really does. It warms my heart. His heart he grew 3 sizes that day, folks. Angie Hatfield, what's up, fam? I need 2. Zay Flowers, Keenan Allen, Jaden Higgins, Jaden Reed. Thanks, Coop. So, Angie, Zay Flowers of that crew is the lock. Like, he's the guy you're putting in there, and there's no question. He's the full-time guy. He's got a good matchup with the Bengals. If the Ravens run all over them, sometimes he goes away, but every wide receiver has that problem where, like, if the team just runs a ton, then they're in trouble. After this, you have 3 essentially part-time guys with Keenan Allen, Jaden Higgins, and Jaden Reed. And for me, I'm leaning into Jaden Higgins. I I wish he would play more, but at least if all these guys are going to be part-time, he's playing on the outside. He's playing in 2 wide receiver sets. He's getting these red zone and end zone targets. He should have 4 touchdowns over the last 6 or so weeks, but he only has 3. One, he got knocked out at the 1-inch line. Like, go for upside in this occasion here and go for Jaden Higgins. So Flowers and Higgins is what I'm doing. Direwolf says start 1, Aaron Jones, C-Rod, or Pierce. C-Rod, another guy who's showing up on the injury report. I'm starting Aaron Jones. Aaron Jones, despite the AC joint, playing a ton of snaps. He's the lead back for that team. They're obviously, kind of out of it, but they're playing to win. C-Rod has 1 catch on the season. Just can't really trust guys like that. And Alec Pierce, unfortunately, is the guy that probably gets hurt the most by this QB change because hitting those deep balls and having that timing, it's really not that easy. It's not as easy as just like chucking it up. So I think he's the guy that really becomes super boom bust here versus the kind of low A dot guys that you see like when the backup quarterbacks come in. You see with Shadur Sanders right now, like he's just throwing all sorts of low A dot stuff and keeping it close to the vest. So I trust those guys a little bit better. In this Chargers Chiefs game, super low implied point total on the Chargers side. Kind of a little bit surprised by the not necessarily disrespect to the Chargers here. I think this is a winnable game. I would pick the Chargers to cover 6 here, but they're saying Chiefs at home. It gets loud, it gets cold. So I'm not all surprised by that either. Tell you what, on the Chargers, I'm staying away from everybody. Kamani Vidal and Hampton, they split the snaps. Hampton looked terrible pass blocking, so not that great of a situation there. And we can't trust Gadsden. I don't want to get McConkey in there. I know Trent McDuffie's banged up. I guess we'll put McConkey on the sheet as he's a guy that we would start in redraft leagues. Anybody I'm starting in a redraft league, I'll put on the sheet. But I don't trust Quentin Johnson. I don't trust Keenan Allen. I don't trust Justin Herbert really with this with a broken hand. On the flip side, we're also not going to start Mahomes against the Chargers in FFPC, but I would start him here. I'm starting Rice where I have him. I'm starting Kelsey where I have him. People always say to me, they're like, "Oh, they're just going to put Derwin James on Kelsey and he'll shut him down." That does happen from time to time. Derwin James will be in the box, but this team only plays man-to-man about 15% of the time, 15 to 17%. I checked a few different sources. Sumer Sports says 15. Fantasy Points Data Suite says 17. When you play that much zone, guys like Kelsey can find their way underneath for dink and dunk stuff. You saw it last week with Dallas Goedert, where he was able to get a bunch of work done on them underneath. So I'm not really super worried about that situation. And I really don't want to trust the Chiefs running backs. Pacheco got a little bit more work, got a little bit of goal line work. So don't really love that situation. Next question here in the chat, Raider Dave. Again, I want to go in and real quick just hit on all the member questions. It's hard for me to do it as a solo show here with a lot of efficiency. But I should be able to do it real quick with a couple of Raider Days questions, everybody else. So good day. I'm down 11:57 because of Pitts. Way she goes, brother. I have Mahomes, McLaurin, Kyron, Harvey, Kelsey, 49ers. Opponent has Allen, blah, blah, blah. What are my chances? I mean, anytime you get like walloped like that with a one game, like just crazy blow up performance, it hurts. But I mean, the rest of your team is still great. And they definitely have some holes. I mean, we've seen guys like Henry kind of disappear. Devonta Smith has a long history of disappearing. But the biggest thing for you is that you're a Patriots fan, man. Like you, Josh Allen and Shakir. If this guy can have a flop from his quarterback and one of his wide receivers, that would go a long way for you, brother. So that's what you got to root for the Pats, man. I'll be rooting for him. Underdog parlay hit the 8x though. So yes, last night, if you guys followed us last night, we had the long boy, ground boy, and short boy in the parlay, along with a Bijan Robinson touchdown. Ground boy is the over longest play. Howard had that on Bucky Irving. The long boy is the over longest reception, which our guy Josh Wagner had last night on Emeka Egbuka, 23 yards. He only needed 20. And then mine, the short boy, which was the under longest reception for Durham, Payne Durham, was set at 9.5. The dude has one catch on the season. I don't know why they even let us bet that, but he didn't catch a single pass, which means he definitely didn't catch a 9.5 yard pass. So we hit there. Feeling great about that, baby. Let's go. Money up. They said, I have A.J. Brown against the Raiders too. That's great. That's awesome news. So I'm going to jump back up to the top here, just hit a couple quick questions, and then we'll jump back into the sheet here and get you guys squared away. Where was I? There, I was right here. Glad I didn't face anybody who had Pitts. Yeah, I didn't face anyone who had Pitts. I had him going in one league, and then I have him in best ball, but I know I went against him in best ball. Like I checked one of my best ball leagues where I have Bijan and Pitts, and they scored 86 points. Two other guys in my pod also have Pitts, so I'm not out of the woods. Not out of the woods yet. Brissett, Mariota, or JJ McCarthy. The more I think about this one, the more I am leaning into Marcus Mariota. It's tough because Brissett has been so good, but the matchup is so bad. I mean, if the Texans can shut down Patrick Mahomes, don't we think they can shut down Jacoby Brissett? So I'm going Mariota here. I'm going Mariota. McCarthy, too risky. I know it's a good matchup, but a little too risky for me. Flex, Brees, Hunt, Ramondre, Likely. In this case, I'm not going to go Likely just because, I mean, the guy only ran 55% of the snaps last week. He is a part-time player. I'm probably just going to go Brees Hall, regardless of quarterback. I mean, it's either Brees or Ramondre because Ramondre did play 38 snaps to only 32 last week for Henderson, but Brees Hall is an every down player. And I've run into this myself where I'm like, oh, should I start Devin Neal or should I start Brees Hall? And then I realized like the Saints aren't a good team either. And I think Brees Hall is a better player than Devin Neal. So Brees Hall, I didn't move him. I moved him down for sure because the Brady Cook is going to be the quarterback or whatever. But I'm still going to go there. I'm still going to go there. Let's jump back in the sheet here. Raiders, Eagles. I don't have to tell you guys that I'm not starting any Raiders. That implied point total is so brutal. 13 points is what Vegas says they're going to score. That is one of the lowest of the years. So no Raiders under any circumstances in something like this. Actually, you know what? I'll put Bauer's name in there out of respect because it's tight end premium, but we're not going to use him because it's a bottom three matchup for tight ends. Simple as that. For the Eagles, you could definitely consider Hurts. You consider A.J. Brown and something like this. I'm also starting Devonta Smith. Um, I'm starting Barkley where I have him. Goddard is the one guy that I don't really like. I'm not even going to put him on the sheet because I don't want to start him. I don't trust him. And this Raiders defense has been tough against tight ends. So I really am trying not to start Goddard if I can avoid it. I personally don't have a single team with Dallas Goddard because I just don't draft players like that. He doesn't catch a lot of passes versus man to man. He doesn't get end zone targets, so we can't trust him to be an end zone guy. Just not something that I like doing in fantasy football. So I'm not going to do it. And I don't have to do it. So that's the beauty of FFPC. I can do whatever I want. And if you want to play over at FFPC, go to myffpc.com now. Use promo code ALARM. They'll give you $25 when you deposit $35 or more. Hit this little QR code right here if you want. It'll take you right over there. My advice would be to deposit $45 because they give you 25. That gets you to 70, get you in two of these games because they're $35 a piece. So Definitely jump in there and check it out. For those just joining us late, that's what we're doing with the sheet here. I'm putting up every player on the sheet that I trust for this week in redraft that I would start in a fantasy football championship match. And then from there, we're going to pick the top of the top of the top and make an FFPC lineup. So we're also hitting your questions here as we go through because I'm a man of the people and I want you guys to win. I want you to be rich. I want you to be happy. I want to win. You know, the advice I give, sometimes I might be wrong. Sometimes I fall for fallacies or for, game script issues or things like that, but I'll never deceive you. I'm never going out here. No one out here is saying, "Oh, what would be funny is if we tricked a bunch of people into making bad plays." Or, if I had some hunch and I told everybody to start that guy in their lineups, even though it's not like the smart or safe thing to do. I hope people aren't doing that, but we never do that here. So we're doing our best to help you guys win. That's what we care about. That's what we want. Um, Greg says he rolled the dice on Higgins because he was running up that hill, left Evans on the bench. Yeah, I mean, thing with Evans though is we had reports that he wasn't going to play a ton. Boy, did he play a ton. So can't trust those people. I know those reporters, they're doing their best. They want to be right. But that's the way it goes. Yeah. And I know people had Mike Evans on the bench. It happens, but it doesn't mean it's over for you. And the good news is this: if you can survive to next week, now you have Mike Evans and now you know you can trust him, right? So get him in there and get him going moving forward. Jets, Jaguars here. Can't trust any of these Jets in something like this. I will put Brees Hall in there because I'm going to play him in some spots. Mason Taylor's out this week. Ooh, maybe a little stone smart dart throw out there. DFS. I might have to add him to the DFS tight end article. But yeah, tough to trust any of these Jets. So I'm trying to avoid all of that. On the Jaguars side, Trevor Lawrence has been good. He's the guy I would consider. BTJ, I'm starting in lineups. I might not start him here. ETN is the guy that I would potentially start. I trust Brenton Strange too. I mean, anybody on the sheet is going to be somebody I'm listing as a uh, top, let's say top 10 tight end, top 10 running backs and wide receivers, and then or top 15 running backs and wide receivers or so, and then top 10 quarterbacks. That's what we'll put in the sheet here. Um, Again, when we get to the end, we're just going to make the lineup however we feel like doing it anyway. So yeah, that's how we're playing that game. And I'll hit on the Cardinals Texans here too, because I don't want to start Trey McBride in this. The Texans are there's three defenses we avoid for tight end. We don't want to start teams against the Eagles. We don't want to start teams against the Texans. We don't want to start teams against the Bills. This is the tight ends. We don't want to do that. I wouldn't want to start anybody against the Texans if we can avoid it. So start Michael Wilson if you have to. We're not going to use him in our FFPC lineup, but again, if you have other options, you got to go there. We're not starting Brissett. We try not to start Stroud either. Nico, we like. Jaden Higgins is on the fringe, so he's not going on the sheet. And then Woody Marks, Nick Chubb has not practiced all week. He might be out, so he's on the table for us too. Schultz has been kind of disappointing, so not really a guy I'm willing to tout and throw on the sheet here this week. Need two wide receivers and two flex out of Zay, Tet, Michael Wilson, Genty, Dowdle, and Neal, non PPR. So four of these players, I'll tell you, I'm definitely starting Zay. I'm definitely starting McMillan. Those are two I'm going to put in there. And then after that, I would go with Genty. And in non PPR, I'm going with Neal. I don't see how Michael Wilson comes out and has another 100-yard game. The Vegas odds for Michael Wilson are set at 56 receiving yards. 56. That's nothing. So if you believe in Michael Wilson, then you're definitely betting on those. In standard though, 56 receiving yards does nothing for you. He really needs to find the end zone. I'm pretty scared, so I'm not going to do it. Uh, you must start Evans against Carolina family. He's the alpha in Tampa. Yeah, I mean, I'm a little worried about JC Horn, but you should. Evans probably going to be must start rest away. If is Yoshi a possible start with T Higgins out? Only in really deep leagues, and because we've seen this a number of times, and he really doesn't pop the way you would think. Really, more of a DFS play or a spot start if you have to. Um, so I don't really love it. I don't love it. Have a bye week this week but after seeing what happened with the Bucks, I'm playing Christian Watson over at Buka next week, right? Yeah, especially if Christian Watson can do something this week against the Broncos. Like if he can beat, you had a good timing on the bye week because I don't want to start Watson against the Broncos, but if he can make something happen here, then he's locked in for any of these good matchups. So yeah, Egbuka just uh, he's going to be a good player. He got put into a role that was bigger than what a rookie typically should have. I thought he was going to be on more of a Chris Godwin trajectory where he has a couple years as kind of the third fiddle and then he becomes the guy. Like, I still love having Egbuka in Dynasty. A little scared of him right now in redraft. Let's jump back into the sheet here. Commanders, Giants. Um, Mariota's really more of a spot start radar guy. Jackson Dart, we do like though. Jackson Dart is a guy where I have him ranked QB8. If I don't have anybody that, like I said, has good floor and upside, Burrow, Mahomes, May, Allen, Hurts, Dak, Stafford. Like if I don't have one of those guys, then I stop caring about floor and I start caring about upside, right? Because if you have the combination of both, like Josh Allen, then it's a no brainer. After that, you run into 2 groups of players, floor and upside. Jackson Dart doesn't have a great floor, but he actually has upside. A lot of guys have fine floors at quarterback, like CJ Stroud's gonna go out there and probably throw a touchdown pass. But what is the upside in this game against the Cardinals here, where they're probably gonna run a decent amount? Uh, I don't know. So Dart is a guy I'm using in a lot of spots if I have to. I'm not scared of it. I'm also not scared to use Wan'Dale Robinson in full PPR. Theo Johnson, he's still a speculative play. I hope people understand that like we haven't fully seen it all together. We've seen pieces of it. We saw him score some touchdowns. We saw him have a game where he broke off a big chunk play. We saw him have another game where he got 7, 8 targets. But it hasn't all come together at the same time. But part of that has been his schedules was bad. He faced the Eagles and then the Broncos and then the Eagles again, right? Terrible, terrible schedule for a tight end. And then his quarterback got hurt. So when he had good matchups, he didn't have Jackson Dart with him. He had like Jameis Winston and these guys, right? So for me, if again, he's in that range where if you don't have safety, just go upside. And he's right there on the fringe for us. We're not going to trust either of the running backs in something like this. We like Tracy over Singletary. That hit pointer situation has us a little bit scared. We're not going to use Ben Sennett. I like him over John Bates. We're not going to use any of the Commanders running backs. Chris Rodriguez is banged up. He also has only 1 catch on the season. We're not going to, we can consider Terry McLaurin. Terry McLaurin looks good. That's a guy who looked great coming back out. You could also use Deebo Samuel in something like this. McLaurin's a guy we really do trust. And we're trying to fill the sheet with guys that we actually trust this week. That way, if people look back and they can just kind of take a look at the screenshot and say, okay, you know what? I feel good about some of these guys. Let's jump back, hit some more questions here. Let me know if there's anybody on that you think should be on this sheet that isn't, that we should consider for this week. Let me know because I'm willing to take input. This is our lineup. We're making an FFPC lineup, and it's just us this week. No guests to distract us with their silly jokes. Need 2 in PPR with bonuses for long receptions. Yoshi, Bateman, Henry, Bam. And that's a real tough spot because I don't want to use Henry against the Bills. So I'm out there. Bam doesn't have a great matchup, and it's weird that there's no bonus for long rushes, but I probably would just use Bam because he's a starting NFL running back. And then after that, in this particular instance, I would just lean into Yoshi because at least he's going to get the snaps. Bateman, even as the wide receiver 2, doesn't really play a full snap share. We're going to see a lot of rushing. We're going to see a lot of tight ends. I don't know if I love Bateman in that situation. Jaden Higgins or Ramondre, that's a real tough one because if Higgins was getting a full workload, then I would be really locked in on him. And Ramondre isn't either. Ramondre did get more snaps last week than Travion. He got 12 carries. I'm going Ramondre here. Just go with the guaranteed touches. As much as I like Higgins, I don't want to mess around and lose my playoff matchup over a rookie that's not quite playing all the snaps. So go Ramondre. Quincy Davis in the house. What's happening? Need 2 wide receivers and 2 flex from Hunt, Vidal, Higgins, BTJ, Yoshi, Myers. I actually do rank Jacoby Myers over BTJ. He is a better, I'm not even saying he's the better player. We got to get that out of our minds here of like who's the better player in a vacuum, who has the better role for fantasy football. And Jacoby Myers does. He's in that Chris Godwin slot role, whereas BTJ is out playing split end. He's facing the top corners. He has the tougher situation. So I'm going Myers. honestly, as crazy as it sounds, you're probably gonna end up starting both Myers and BTJ. And I don't think that's crazy considering your options because you got a lot of guys that aren't full-time players. For me, I'm going BTJ, I'm going Myers, I'm going Hunt, and I'm going Jaden Higgins. I don't trust Vidal. He could get overtaken by Hampton this week big time, and I don't trust Yossi Voss. I just don't think he's that great of a player. There's no need to really pepper him with targets here, so I'm not going there. Swift versus Judkins. I like Judkins. Swift is splitting with Monongai, and it's not a good matchup. That's where we run into the big problem with him. You if they're splitting and it's a good matchup, then it's all sunshine and rainbows and everybody gets 100 yards. Going against the Browns, I don't really love that. I'd rather have Judkins coming back the other way. Bears are bottom 5 team in rushing yards allowed on the year. You can run on the Bears. So definitely go there. And if you're talking about the defense, uh, I'm going San Francisco against Tennessee. Absolutely. Tennessee has just been fumble machine, turnover machine. That's what we care about in when it comes to defenses. We want you pressure. The first thing you need is pressure. Pressure, and the San Francisco 49ers are actually bottom of the league in sacks, and the Browns are towards the top. But that's where you get those chaotic plays that turn into turnovers. You really don't score that many points unless it's a full shutout, and we don't see a lot of shutouts in the NFL. There's been like 2 this year. So, let's see, the Falcons got shut out and the Vikings got shut out. I don't know how many shutouts there've been, but there's not a lot of them. So I'm going San Francisco versus Tennessee here, and getting that locked in. Let's jump back into the sheet, since we're on you kinda brought up that game, Browns, Bears. Again, don't really trust a ton of Browns here. Harold Fannin is on our radar because he's running so many routes, getting so many targets. His A dot though is like 3 yards. So he really is a full PPR tight end premium play. This is tight end premium, so maybe we will use him. We'll see. I'm not using Shadur. I'm not using Judy if I can avoid it. I'm not using Tillman, definitely. Tillman isn't even a full-time guy anymore. He's like splitting snaps with Isaiah Bond and some of those guys. So Tillman's just completely off the radar. It's it's Judkins, it's Fannin, and it's Judy. And if Dylan Sampson is out, that's even better for Judkins. Jerome Ford will pick up a bunch of those run play, the pass downs, but Judkins is kind of in a good spot here. We're trying to avoid the running backs on this team, but I'm still trying to avoid Loveland. To be honest, I don't really like any of the Bears outside of Caleb Williams. I just I don't trust him, and you can feel it in your own leagues, right? Like you can feel it yourself. Luther Burden, Colston Loveland, they're not getting full time roles. Alameda Zacchaeus played over Burden last week in terms of snaps, which we don't love. I know Zacchaeus is dealing with some sort of hamstring, but can't trust DJ Moore. And then Roma Dunze would be the one guy that, had a good start to the year, but he hasn't been doing much either. And I can see the Bears running the ball a lot here. And then it's a split backfield. So again, Bears have just set themselves up to be a team that we don't trust and we don't love. And it's just that's the way of the world, folks. What are you gonna do? Bills Patriots here. We've got a lot of players that we can definitely use here. I'm definitely using Josh Allen if I have him. He is my number one ranked quarterback this week, just because he's awesome. Like that's it. Sometimes you don't have to get too crazy with the analysis. Josh Allen rules, and that's coming from a Patriots fan. Khalil Shakir is definitely a guy that we're willing to use. I know he's not, again, not a full time player, but very good yak player. Always seems to make something happen in big games. I know he's had a couple down weeks, but oddly, still a guy I trust. James Cook is locked in. The over under combined rushing plus receiving yards for this guy with most sports books is set at 100. Like they're saying the baseline for this guy is 100 yards one way or another. So exciting for him. Dalton Kincaid, we're not going to use him in this lineup in the FFPC, but Patriots aren't that good of a match. Patriots are a good matchup for tight ends. Like they play bend don't break defense. You can catch the ball over the middle. So we like Kincaid potentially against him. Diggs has a bunch of incentives that he's set to get. If Diggs catches 6 passes this week, he gets $500,000. And then he gets every 10 passes after that, another 500,000. If he averages 75 yards a game over the last 4 games, he gets another 500,000. His contract is so incentive heavy. I really like Diggs in some of these situations. Drake May is on the table. We might even be starting him. Hunter Henry, we're not using. And we're not using the running backs in this particular thing. We rank Henderson over over Ramondre, but in something like FFPC where we just want top 10 guys, I can't see how you could rank Henderson top 10 this week when he didn't lead his team in snaps last week. It can't be done. So that's how we're capping this team, this game. We're gonna have guys from that game because of the high implied point totals. Cindy, what's happening? One PPR, need two of Wandale, Jacoby, McConkey. Scared of McConkey because Herbert broke his arm. He broke his hand. He had surgery, but he looked fine last week. I mean, he played his ass off. Um, I would go McConkey here. I'm going Wandale against the Commanders, which is a very soft defense, and McConkey. That's where I would go. Uh, but if you truly felt nervous about it, Myers is very close too. I mean, I have all three of those guys ranked top 24. In fact, I can just pull it up for you just to give you the info. If you guys aren't Fantasy Alarm members, all my rankings, all this information I'm sharing today, that goes into everything going up. So if you just want to leave nothing to chance and know exactly what's going on, become a member now and get set up over at Fantasy Alarm. We have a deal going right now that I believe is 50% off. So go and get set up, go all pro and get all the rankings for everything. And then, then you'll be set for the rest of the playoffs. And if you get the year membership, then all next year too, because it really comes all the way around to this time of year. You're all set. That's for all sports, the all pro, basketball, football, baseball, hockey, you name it. So get in there and get set up. But yeah, so I have Jacoby ranked 22, Wandale 18, and then I have McConkey here at where did I miss him? Oh, 19. So yeah, I got these guys right in there pretty close in full PPR. So yeah, that's how I'm living. I'm going with Wandale and McConkey. Need two wide receivers and a flex. PPR. Nico, Olave, Devonta Smith, McLaurin, Debo, Warren, Gainwell, Corum, Emmanuel, Wilson. Two wide receivers. The wide receivers are going to be Nico and probably Olave here. I know the matchup isn't ideal with JC Horn. I have Olave ranked 13 and I have McLaurin 14. It's not Debo either. I'm going Nico and McLaurin. I'm gonna update that and put McLaurin ahead. I do worry about JC Horn, the fact that he's gonna be active. And then the flex is definitely gonna be Emmanuel Wilson if Jacob misses. And if Jacobs plays, then go with Jalen Warren. Uh, yeah, Woody. We liking Woody. Would you drop Goddard for Juwan Johnson? I would. I absolutely would. I have Juwan ranked ahead rest of the season. I have him ranked ahead this week. He's been better in PPR besides last week, which was kind of an outlier. Like Goddard has been so hard to trust. Last week was his best game in like over a month. Knicks or Mariota? That's a really interesting and difficult question, Drew. Because Mariota is a little high risk, high reward. Knicks has a bad matchup. Right now, I do have Bo Nix ahead, and that's probably how I would go. But Mariota against this Giants team is kind of appealing. It's kind of interesting. But I'm going Knicks. He looked better last week, and he ran a little bit more. So go there. Uh, got Slayton in the Higgins spot. Yeah, Slayton's not a bad spot start if you need it, but definitely don't really trust him. Green Bay, Cleveland, LA Chargers, Giants held Flournoy, but CD's back. Yeah, CD's back. So Flournoy back off the table. Let's jump back in. Titans, 49ers here. I'm not starting any Titans if I can avoid it in under any circumstances. The running back split, the tight end split, the quarterback's bad. It's just not a good situation for fantasy. For the 49ers, Purdy is on the table. Juwan Jennings is a guy that I do trust. Ricky Parasol has not showed up. Kittle will 100% be in our lineup this week. Kittle is the DFS play of the week on all platforms. FFPC, any of the ones with salaries, any of the ones with drafts. The Titans are missing a bunch of guys in their secondary. Roger McCreary, they're missing L'Jarius Sneed. They released Quandre Diggs. Jalen Armour Davis might be out. He hasn't practiced in full this week. It's so bad they took Kevin Winston Jr., a rookie safety, and they moved him into the nickel. At his first game in the nickel, He got seven targets were thrown against him. All 7 were caught. 158.3 perfect passer rating, right? That was the Brenton Strange game. And then last week, you saw what happened with Harold Fannin. 100 yards, bunch of targets. Like, Kittle is locked in for me, and so is Christian McCaffrey. But we're not going to use McCaffrey this week, believe it or not. As crazy as that sounds, we're going to use George Kittle and tight end premium. That's the only move we're going to do in our FFPC lineup that isn't pure chalk. We're just going to see if Kittle outscores CMC and tight end premium, we get a huge leg up on everybody, and then every other pick of ours is going to be the pure chalk. What do you think about that? Crazy, like a fox. That's part of our strategy this week. Panthers, Saints. Not using Bryce Young. McMillan I'm using. Don't trust any of the tight ends because they rotate Tremble, Sanders. And also, this running back situation, I'm telling you guys, only go there if you don't have anybody that has any sort of safety to them because these guys, they're not giving us any information. Reporters asked Chuba about it, and he was like, that's not my job to decide who plays when or what. All I know is that me and Rico, we're going to be ready for any time our name is called. We're going to be ready, which is brutal. I will say this: Rico has been one of the worst pass blocking backs in the league. He has 41 pass block snaps on the season, and he's allowed 11 pressures. That's literally that's 25%. One of every 4 pass plays he's in there, his man is putting pressure on the quarterback. That's brutally bad. With Chuba, he has 31 on the season and only 1 pressure. So Chuba's actually been pretty good. That's why he's getting the pass work all of a sudden. I actually skewed Chuba over Dowdle because of that, but I don't trust either of them. And then on the Saints side, Juwan Johnson's on the table. Devin Neal you can use in a pinch, but again, the upside's not super high. Olave's in there, and Tyler Shuck I actually do like in like super flex and 2 QB leagues because he hasn't been bad and he's willing to run a little bit. So there you go. Hendo or Stevenson. Jacobs is my other RB. Also have both Minnesota RBs. I would start Henderson. Because you can run on the Bears, and that's the play. That's where you got to rock it. I really apologize for any of the super chats and the member stuff. I'm doing solo show today, so I have a hard time finding these. Really appreciate you throwing in there and doing your thing, folks. I'm trying to hit on every question and get this thing squared away as quickly as possible for you guys. So doing my best for all you guys. Love you guys. Down 40 after last week. Need to go big. QB's Mahomes, 2 RB, 2 hours for 1 flex. Achan's going to be in, absolutely. And if you're going big, Henderson's going to be in as well. You got to have Rice in there. You got to watch the health for Adams, okay? But if he's playing, I'm playing him. And then if you want to go big, it's got to be J-Mo. I don't see a world where Wilson just all of a sudden is the guy that figures out how to crack the code on this Texans team. I think it's just going to be Wilson's going to get like 10, 12 targets and catch like 4 or 5 of them. That's what I would expect from him. Breece Hall, Woody, Chuba, Hunt, Ramondre sit too. I'm sitting Chuba and I'm sitting Hunt. I'm starting Breece Hall, Woody, and Ramondre. To me, just have a better path to success. I hate that Isaiah Pacheco took some goal line work. That really hurts Hunt a bit there. Should I play Vele as a flex this week over Genty, Chuba? No, I would just play Genty. Vele's getting some decent targets, but I would play Genty over Kenneth Walker and all those guys. Full PPR, good start with Kyle Pitts. Awesome. Tough bench options. What would you change? Achan Neal, Lamb Waddle, Hall Addison, benches Dowdle, McConkey, Walker. I would put McConkey in over Jordan Addison. I'm just not super excited about Jordan Addison in some of these games, he's behind both Jefferson and Hawkinson. Just don't trust that, man. Dak or Stafford going up against the Rams. Stafford has an argument to be the QB2 overall behind Josh Allen. I have it Allen May Stafford, but Stafford's locked and loaded. Get him going. Let's jump back in the sheet real quick. Going to rapid fire through a lot of this stuff. JT, we're starting JT. No one else do we truly trust. Look at that implied point total, 14.5. That the implication there is that the Seahawks are going to mop the Colts this week. Hey, you know what? You might be all right. Certain spots where I have to start Pitts, where I have to start Warren. If Phillip Rivers is in there, I'm more likely to start Warren, but I'm trying to avoid it if possible. And then with this team, JSN, you love. Darnold is on the fringe, but not a QB1. The running backs hurt each other. Barner's not a bad like DFS play with Elijah Arroyo having a hurt knee, but I don't trust that. No chance. So this game, I'm really just going JSN and not really um, getting super excited about anything else. So jumping back in, Mahi, what up, dude? Happy Friday. Smash another same game parlay. Hell yeah, dude. The playbook, man. That's why you got to be a member. Like we got all the bets up there, the bet tracker. I give all my stuff. We got all the DFS coaches. It rules. Ingram or Gadsden, and then need two from Burden, Mondre, Bam, and then the other tight ends, the Warrior Bowl. In that case, I would just start Mondre and Bam of my two flexes. And then I'm going Ingram. I cannot trust Gadsden right now. Ingram had a bad matchup last week versus the Raiders. They are quietly a good team versus the tight ends. I know the Packers have Xavier McKinney and Quay Walker, so it's not all that much better. But I mean, Gadsden's giving us nothing, and he's no longer even. He used to like lead the team in routes run. Now he was like fourth this week. I think he's hurt, man. I think he's hurt. One more, Olave or Tet, non PPR. I'm going Tet in that one. Again, he's going to be going up against. They're playing each other, right? But he's going up against um, like Alante Taylor and these guys versus Olave, who's going up against JC Horn. So that's going to be a difference maker for me. Half PPR, need one kicker that I could start both this week and rest of season. I'm torn between McPherson, Borregales, and then later it was or Pinheiro. It's Pinheiro, my man. It's Pinheiro. Pinheiro was so good before he got hurt. He gets the Titans this week. Like, don't worry about rest of season, Fred, unless there's some sort of weird rule that you can't like make waiver moves. Just focus on this week. And Pinheiro, I mean, he's locked in for me. He's locked in for me. So get him in there, get him up and running. I have him kicker number 4 on the week this week. So get him in there. Uh, Michael, dude, Pitts, Evan, Bijans. So what? You're up by 100 points. Like that's a beautiful thing. Gainwell or Neal? I'm going Neal. Starting running back for his team gets virtually all the work. Like uh, barring Alvin Kamara just playing for like no reason at all, it's Neal there. And dude, you guys are the best, man. You guys are the best. I wouldn't be able to do this job without you guys, man. It's like everything we do. This is what I love doing. I love doing this job, man. It is my favorite. I quit a fairly high paying. I was a vice president of acquisitions at some slumlord, and I didn't like that job. It wasn't. I wasn't helping people. You know what I mean? We were like, again, renting to people is just I don't know. Whatever it was, that job just wasn't for me. And I went to school my whole life to do that. But here today, dude, doing this, doing the research, putting in the work, trying to help us win some leagues, have some fun along the way. I mean, what's better than that? What is better than hanging out with the gang today? And I know it's a little more fun when we have a guest, but today is about the family. We're trying to win some dang leagues, some dang money. So let's look at this FFPC lineup here that we're making. For those who want to play with us over at FFPC, use promo code ALARM. They'll give you $25 when you deposit $35 or more. It's the most accessible way to play, especially if you've been eliminated and you just want to play a little more. Jump in there and make one of these lineups. I'll show you. I'm going to make mine in a minute. It's going to be absolutely bonkers. But I mean, everybody's on the table from this game. Everybody's on the table. We don't really trust Monty, and we're not going to use a tight end. But like, here's how I look at it: we might use Stafford. Adams is banged up, which makes me really want to use Puka Nakua. I'm not using any of the tight ends from this game, but that's how I'm viewing this game. I mean, like, you want 55 point over under. You want access to these games. You want to get those guys in there. So that's how we rock. That's how we roll. Get them going. Fire up the engines. Start one at a Michael Pittman, Higgins, Pittman, Juwan Johnson. Man, what a question, Luke. Luke, very sharp gamer representing us in the Fans Classic. And of course, you got questions like this, man. If it's Philip Rivers, I might just start Michael Pittman. I might just start Michael Pittman. Otherwise, I'm going to start Michael Wilson and just hope that maybe him and Jacoby Brissett have figured something out truly special and he's going to get the targets. It's just, this team is so tough, this Texans team. They got no one else to throw to. So the ball's going to be going that way. It's just, can he catch 6 of these 10 or 12 targets? I don't know. But I got to give myself that shot because Higgins, he's still a part-time guy, and Juwan Johnson as the tight end, he really doesn't have a super high upside versus other tight ends. Yeah, and appreciate the support. You guys rule, man. Matty Strauss, that's our guy, another sponsor of ours. Make sure if you haven't yet, pick up a chain from. And I just did the thing again, Maddie, where I unadjusted the chain here. So, but get your sports chains now over at USA Fan Sports Chains, man. Use promo code ALARM. They'll give you 5% off. No tax through the holiday. Love those guys over there. Love them so much. I'm even going to throw up the QR code, dude, because Maddie, he's one of our guys, man. Hang out with him at the Expo and FSGA when we see him, man. And he's just one of us. And he came out with this great product that he figured out. Hey, I can make these for cheaper. I can make them here in America. I can give you guys a little discount. They look great. They got a great size to them. Like, he's like, why not do this? I know other people are making chains. We're going to make them better. We're going to make them cheaper. That's what they're doing over there, and they're making them here in the United States. So definitely, if you want to get a chain for you, if you're going to win, if you want to get a chain for your whole league and just say, hey, the winner gets to rock it for a year. Next year, I'm going to win it. It's the time of season to give. And you can get a gift for your entire league. Well, how often can you get one gift for 10 people, for 12 people? Where people look at that, you get that, and you're like, oh, you know what? That's real cool that Pete did that, because it's not for him, it's for everybody. He didn't have to do that. That was nice of him. It's something special. And each one of those people has that thought, and it's kind of cool. And they're going to want to rock that chain. So definitely go out and get that. Or if you want to be a jerk, and which is equally funny, get one of the chains that say fantasy football loser. Like, let's say you already have a trophy. My league now has a trophy and a chain, but if you want to just get the fantasy football loser trophy, that's equally awesome and equally funny. Make your buddy wear it at the draft. Awesome stuff, man. So really love you guys, Maddie, and everybody out there. Let's jump in and just finish up this chart here. Just get two more teams in, then I'll jump back in on questions. Packers, Broncos. On the Packers side, man, I really don't want to start these guys. I know it's Toyotathon Love. Watson, tough matchup for him, but he's easily the top option from that group. Jacobs is banged up, so Emmanuel Wilson's on the table. And if Jacobs doesn't go, and you can't trust Musgrave or any of these guys. Can't trust Ingram on the other side. RJ Harvey's a guy I do like. We might start Harvey in this, but it's not a great matchup for him. And then Cortland Sutton has been fine. What is it? 62 yards, 59 yards. Like, he's been exactly broccoli. You know what I mean? It's good for you. It builds character. You can actually make it taste really nice from time to time. And it's not going to really let you down. But you don't get super excited. I mean, there are some broccoli dishes I get excited about, but it's hard to get really excited about Sutton. Pat Bryant's banged up. He's been playing over everybody else. I'm trying not to use him if I don't have to. And then Bo Nix, I'd rather not use either. I'd rather not use Love or Nix. In fact, I'm going to delete his name from the sheet because I want my quarterback's going to come from one of these games that has an over-under that's like 49 or 50 or 55. So I'm not going to even put him on there. But you can use them in your leagues where you have to. Big Gorilla, this is an FFPC format. Again, get your money deposited over there because they have a ton of cool stuff. The weekly stuff, the playoff challenge is the best one, and that's open now. I'm gonna write an article on that. I'm gonna have, as I do every year, I'm gonna get Theo Greminger to come on and we'll make our lineup for that. That's so much fun because that goes, you make one team, but it goes for the whole playoffs, which rules. So we're gonna do that. But Devonta Smith, David Montgomery, Kenneth Walker, definitely not David Montgomery, bro. It's got to be Devonta Smith of that crew. Kenneth Walker, he could score from 25 yards out, but every time they get close, they just give it a Sharpie Sharps, man. It's absolutely brutal. What are you going to do? I have a ton of Kenneth Walker too. Wouldn't it be just the best thing in best ball mania if this was the week that Kyle Pitts and Kenneth Walker just went crazy and, those are the teams that advance? That would be hilarious. My other team, tourney qualifier, Juwan or Andrews. I'm going Andrews. Even though it's tight end premium and Juwan's been better in that. You got to start guys that go up against the Bengals. Keep an eye on the glute injury for Andrews. If he's out, then it's obviously Juwan. And if Andrews is out, I'll move Isaiah Likely up to tight end 5 over Harold Fannin. He'll still be behind like Kittle and a couple of those guys, but yeah, I mean, it's wheels up if that happens. Would you start Pittman or Tyrone Tracy over Diggs and Devonta Smith? No, start Diggs and Devonta Smith. And I'm starting Drake May. Drake May has been statistically one of the best quarterbacks. He has played well in the tough games. He played well against the Bills last time. He looks good on the film. I mean, there's just not many arguments against Drake May besides schedule. But at a certain point, when the guy's leading the league in like every statistic, you just gotta start him. You just gotta start him. Yeah, and Koopy, I chose today to do a solo show. Every once in a while, you just gotta step in. I used to do a solo show every Monday and Friday for a long time. Every Monday and Friday, I would do a solo show and say, "Hey," on Monday, I'd say, "Here's what we saw," and on Friday, I'd say, "Here's what's going on." And it's more fun with other people. It's more fun with Iggy. It's more fun with a guest. I love hanging out with a chat. But today, for fantasy playoffs, we had to buckle in. We had to get the seatbelt locked in and get these lineups squared away and win some dang leagues. And guess what? We're going over an hour because there's questions in the chat, and I want to get this lineup in. So I'm leaving no stone unturned. None. Zero. So if you got questions, get them in now. I'm hanging out. I want to make sure every single one gets answered here. Simple as that. And the Broncos have allowed, what do we got? 10.1, 6.42 to target one. Love Watson on a heater right now. He is on a heater, but there was a number of games there where they didn't have Patrick Surtain. That's where it's like I do worry a little bit about that now that he's back. Like he missed a big chunk of time there. Um, but he's been back, man. And I do worry about him. But yeah, Watson definitely a DFS play because he can break off a big chunk play at any point. Um, Last two matchups here, Vikings, Cowboys. On the Vikings side, again, we're talking about guys we trust. Nobody. I know Howard's locked in on starting Justin Jefferson. That's his take this week. He's like, I'm playing him. I don't care if I lose, I lose. For me, I am in the boat where like I'm not going to rank Jefferson behind any of these part-time guys. I'm not going to, even that goes for Khalil Shakir, Jaden Reed, Jaden Higgins, anybody that's a part-time player, just give me Jefferson because the upside is so much higher. If you're a guy playing like 65, 70% of the snaps, you just don't have a path to getting like 10, 12 targets where Jefferson does. But I'm also a realist. And if I have just a much better option, if I have Olave, then I'm probably going to start him. So Jefferson's in there, but he's not like, for me, ranked like wide receiver 8. You know what I mean? He's in the wide receiver 2, high end wide receiver 3 range. On the Cowboys side, if Lamb plays, I'm starting him. If Pickens is an option too, I'm not going to go Lamb. I'm not going to go Pickens over Lamb. I just don't feel like going that crazy. Dak's on the table. Ferg is banged up, and I don't really want to start him in this. Not against if I can avoid it. Javonte Williams has been awesome. He gets like every touch, and he's definitely on the radar for us too. For the last game here, Dolphins Steelers. Achan's the only guy. Well, Achan and Waddle are going to be on your radar. I'm not sure. I'm like super pumped on Waddle to put him in an FFPC lineup, but I would consider. I'm definitely using him in redraft. Waller didn't get enough snaps last week for me. Again, only 13 routes run, 12 for Dulcich, 3 targets for each. I want to have him on my bench in case he pops this week and I can use him against the Bengals. Trying not to play him so far. Is Dak top 10 this week? I got Dak top. I want to say I have him at 6. Like Dak is definitely a guy that I'm excited to use. Yeah, I have him at 6. The only guys I have ahead of Dak are Josh Allen, Drake May, Matthew Stafford, Jalen Hurts, Joe Burrow. I would start Dak over Lamar. I've been a little worried about Lamar with the toe and the ankle and the hamstring and the knee. So that's where I'm playing that. On the Steelers side, you can use DK Metcalf if you want. I don't want to. You're starting Warren where you have to, but again, Gainwell plays a decent amount. I don't trust any of the tight ends, and I'm just not super excited on that. And yet, JX, there's some of these lines are a little interesting / confusing to me. Where it's like, I don't the Cowboys, the implied point total has me not super as worried as I would have been. And then some of these other games, like I mentioned at the top of the show, Chiefs, should the Chiefs be 6-point favorites against the Chargers? I don't know. I don't know. So that's it right there. Again, get your last minute questions in. What we're doing now, what we've been doing all show is making an FFPC lineup. Let's go. You got the name here, Solo Sauce. We got Sauce McFloss in the house today going solo dolo with the information you need, folks. But yeah, so here's what we're doing. With FFPC, you can use any player you want, with the only exception being you can't use 2 players from the same team. So this lineup is going to be loaded with chalk, top to bottom. If you want to play, go over there, use promo code ALARM at myffpc.com. They'll give you $25 when you deposit $35 or more. Once my fantasy teams start getting eliminated, I usually always have a couple floating around, but I start leaning more into these because it's like, you know, what better way to ease the pain of your season being over than just to go and get all the best guys and cram them into one lineup and just have it be high fives all day. High fives and touchdowns top to bottom all day long, right? Like what's better than that? So, look, I'll show you. Right now, we could use Christian McCaffrey. I love George Kittle this week. So, because we're using George Kittle in the lineup, I just put him in there. Now we can't use Christian McCaffrey. That's the one thing that we're going to do going against the chalk. Everything else here is going to be pure chalk because if we start the chalk and it hits and Kittle has a big day and McCaffrey just has an okay day, we've just lapped the field, right? So this week I do have McCaffrey as my RB1. That's the move we're making. Gibbs is my RB2. So I'm just going to start him. My RB3 on the week. Why isn't he showing up in there? There he is. My RB3 was Bijan Robinson. He already played. He already gave us some good points. The other guys I really love this week, Devon Achane and James Cook. Those guys round out my top 5. After that, you get into like Jacobs where he's banged up, Henry where we can't trust, Barkley. I mean, Jonathan Taylor with a weird quarterback situation. Like these are the guys I truly trust, and I'm just going to put them in. Look at that. Boom. I can start them all, right? It means that we can't start Amon-Ra St. Brown. It means that we can't start Josh Allen now that we have James Cook in there. We can't start Jalen Waddle if we wanted to go there. But those are the guys we have in there, and we're loving the way that looks. For wide receiver, I'm jumping over and I'm starting JSN because I can start whoever I want, right? I'm starting JSN. With no T. Higgins, I'm starting Jamar Chase. Bang. Chalk City. I'm starting Puka Nacua with a banged up Devontae Adams. Let's go, right? Who else do I have ranked at the very top here? CD Lamb. CD Lamb. I'm putting CD Lamb in there. And if CD Lamb is out, then we'll just pivot to because that's the Sunday night game. You can edit your lineup as you go, right? So like we're gonna go with CD Lamb, and then if he's out, then we'll go Pickens. We'll go Pickens if he's out. And that leaves some other potential options. We got to get one more guy in there. My heart of hearts says to go with Rashee Rice. I think Rashee Rice bouncing back in a big way. I want to have access to that game because when you jump back over and look at the sheet here, right? And the implied point totals, like I do expect them to win. I think Rice is going to have a big game. We don't have a Raven in there. 27-point total. We don't have a Jaguar, but we can use kickers from some of these teams. We don't have a Texan. We got a lot of them covered. So I'm gonna put Rice in there because I'm not gonna use Mahomes. And then we come in here and we look at what's left for quarterbacks and stuff. And you know what? If I'm making this lineup myself, and I'm a Patriots fan, and I can't use Josh Allen because I already used James Cook, then I'm using my guy here. I'm using my guy. If we're gonna win, we're gonna win on my terms, baby. Let's go. Go Pats. Wheels up. Drake May. Awesome. Excellent. So that's the main part of the lineup. And then we circle back and look at defense. I want to use Cleveland, I think. I want to use Cleveland against the Titans. Or do I? Or do I want to use the Seahawks? No, I already used the Seahawks player. Cleveland against the Titans or Houston. It's Cleveland against the Bears. Who's playing the Titans? Oh, it's San Francisco. Now I'm going to use Houston then. Let's just use the best defense. Why don't we just use the best defense in the league? And then for kicker, we'll wrap this puppy up. Anybody let me just circle back on the chat. Can we create a league with all the family in here today for next season? Yeah. So if you're in the Fantasy Alarm Discord, if you're a member, let us know because we're creating leagues all the time. Icy Through is always creating them. And definitely pop into Coop's Corner today. If you're watching the show and you want to be in a league next year, pop into Coop's Corner today in the Discord and just say, hey, what's up? I want to be in the league. I heard you talking on the show. And we'll make a league. So pop in over there. We'll get it going. For kicker here, let's wrap this thing up. What did I just do? Yeah, that's what I wanted to do. For kicker, I want access to the Ravens. So I'm going to use Tyler Loop here. You use Cam Little or Tyler Loop. This could determine the fate of this week, of this game. I'm using Tyler Loop. Let's go. All right, Tyler Loop it is. So that's how cool these lineups are. That's how cool these lineups are. Look at this team. I have not cheated in creating this lineup. Drake May, Devon Achane, Jahmyr Gibbs, Jackson Smith and Jigba, Jamar Chase, James Cook, Puka Nacua, Rashi Rice, CeeDee Lamb, George Kittle, Tyler Loop, team defense. And this isn't even the pure chalk because we didn't use Christian McCaffrey. Like, everyone's going to have McCaffrey in there. We're going to have Kittle in there. That's going to be the difference for us. If you want to make this lineup, except for use a different tight end and use CMC, I encourage you to do so. Do it in 108879, right? And that way, if McCaffrey goes crazy, maybe you win. If he doesn't, maybe I win. But at least somebody in the family brings it down, right? It's $35 to get in this one. Winner makes $500. Second place, $200. Third and fourth get either $100 or $125 entry into a best ball. And then I think 5 and 6 get their money back. This is the 30-team challenge here. They got them with 100. They got them with 10 if you want to play it safe. Like, these are awesome. I'll let you guys know how we do next week, but just wanted to say thank you, everybody. Maddie Strauss saying little at the last minute, dude. Too late. I already committed, dude. I already committed to Tyler Loop. But Maddie, why don't you jump in there and make the same lineup and put Cam Little in there? But yeah, if you go over to my FFPC, hit the QR code, use promo code ALARM. They'll give you $25 when you deposit 35 or more. So that's it, folks, man. And that's it for me. Thank you guys for coming in. I got to go have some tea or something because I have a Sirius XM show tonight, 6 to 8. I just talked for an hour straight, but I just want to make sure that, like, any of our members, if you had a question, it got answered by me after a week of research before your playoff matchup. I hope you guys all win. I hope you guys all have fun, and we'll be here for you no matter what. Whether you win or lose, we'll be doing DFS. We'll be doing pretty much anything we do to keep the hope alive. I mean, we'll be playing the FFPC playoff challenge. We're going to be here. We're going to be here rocking and rolling, and then all offseason right back rolling into the dynasty stuff, which you know me, I love that speculation. So I'll tell you what, from the bottom of my heart, I love you guys. And from the bottom of my heart,
adios, turd nuggets.